Your specific person manifestation is going so much better than you realize. And the only reason that they're not texting you 5 seconds from now is all because of our current assumptions on our reality. And before I go into too much detail, because you're probably thinking 5 seconds sounds crazy, I want to show you the success story that I have for today, in which this individual mentioned that just putting on the video in 5 seconds created or had their specific person show up for them. And you may be asking, but Kyle, that's crazy. How is that going to occur? But everything is up to our assumptions, and I can help you get and manifest the same exact thing just based on the concept that everything in your reality is constantly and always working out for you, whether you think so or not. So, yes, your specific person right now is waiting to text you. They're literally trying to get a hold of you. They're trying to date you. They're trying to propose to you. They're trying to do all of those things, but we fall under the illusion that it's not happening based on our own mindset and based on our own assumptions. And I have a little metaphor that's going to help out massively with this. So let's say you go outside on a sunny day. It's very easy to understand that the sun is shining very bright. It's very hot, and probably you're enjoying such an amazing day. Imagine having one of those days with your specific person. Now, let's say you go out again, but it's a cloudy day. It's the exact opposite. You would fall under the assumption that the sun is not shining, that there is no heat, that there are no sun rays blessing you, giving you that nice tan. But in essence, it's just the clouds obscuring the sun, which right above the clouds is acting and being. It's just as bright. It's shining just as hot as it ever has or ever was or will be, and has always been shining just as bright, but it gets obscured by the clouds. But that's what happens with what we believe to be circumstances in our reality. When you have an overactive imagination, or using fear in a way we don't want, which is, or using imagination in a way we don't want. Did I say fear? Either way, using imagination in the way we don't want is just fear, right? Fear is misused imagination. If we can remember that those are the clouds that are obscuring the sunlight, which has never stopped, never will stop, and is not going to stop ever. If we can understand that, then we can understand our reality is so much better than we could ever imagine it. And you are 5 seconds away from your specific person showing up in whatever way that you want, texting them or having them text you, having them call you, having them reach out to you. And yes, those are a bridge of events in the middle, kind of taking you to what you truly want, which would be like marriage or dating them or whatever. But still, when you align your belief and change what you believe to be your reality, you see the results of it basically instantly. There is no rule of how long it should take for you to manifest what you desire. And even if you're like, yes, but Kyle, it feels like it's taking longer than it should. Don't worry about that. Just focus on this success story of this video and understand if they can do it, then you can too. But there's a little Course in Miracles quote that I think is perfect for this. If I remember to put it up on the screen, I'll put it up on the screen. But because you might be thinking, okay, so Kyle, how do I get rid of these clouds, right? So the quote is, how can you overlook what you've made real? By seeing it clearly, you have made it real and cannot overlook it. The clouds are the false imagination of these things that we feel are in our way, right? You perceive distance, you perceive no contact, you perceive that you're being blocked. But that's not the case. But because you are perceiving it and you hold it very dear to you in your imagination, I know we don't want to, but it's just what happens sometimes. Because we hold it so dear to us, we, in essence, can't overlook it because we think of it as our reality. You will respond in your reality to whatever you imagine it to be, whether it is real or just made up within our mind. And so we can then ask ourselves, and the really good kind of fun idea that I always like to use, to understand that there are two versions of you, that we get two different immediate results in your reality if you just thought about it coming from two different states. Imagine yourself. I like to imagine myself sometimes if I'm ever like, how could I imagine this differently? Or what's going on? Why am I perceiving clouds in the sky obscuring the sunlight? I know, because it is really hard to understand the sun is there when the clouds are obscuring it. But if you'd imagine splitting yourself into two individuals and then just imagining one in a proper state of seeing and understanding that there is sunlight, and the other version of us that sees and perceives clouds in the way, we know that the one, or the version of us that assumes or imagines, even if your logical mind wants to say, well, that's not true though, I'm only seeing the clouds. Even if that's what you are assuming or seeing, the version of you that perceives positivity, regardless of if you are actually seeing it or not, is going to be the one who manifests what you desire in the quickest way possible, because it's just imagination, right? Imagination is reality, as Neville Goddard would say. And thus, in the same way, if we think of that quote again, how can you overlook what you've made real? That's the same with the positive. That is not just a negative phrase. If you are understanding that your specific person wants to reach out to you, I know, crazy idea, right? They want to reach out to you. They are trying. They are trying harder than you. I know that sounds wild to think about. They're trying harder than you to be in your reality. If that's something we can accept, it thus becomes our reality. We've made it real, and it will be impossible to overlook. In the same way, it feels like a cloudy day sometimes, but that's only the creation that we perceived, and thus we make it real. But the same, and it'll be just as positive if we perceive or see a sunny day. There is literally no difference. It will show up for you and be just as permanent based on whatever imagination that you are assuming. So yes, what I'm meaning, and the way that you can or what you can take away from this video to manifest the same thing, is one, if you can just go in your imagination. I know it's crazy, right? We're going back to just simple manifestation exercises, simple manifestation thought processes. If you just imagine what you want, literally here, perceive it as real, be aware that your imagination can sometimes go in the negative, but that is not true. If we can understand that, we can leave this with the imagined act that we truly want, and thus you will see so quickly, if you hold on to that belief, you can think of it in a delusional sense. If you hold on to that belief so tightly and do not let it go, it will be your reality so much faster than you could ever imagine. Because sometimes in my videos, I talk about this idea of like priming or things happening in your reality, but really what it comes down to is your imagination. Your imagination is law. What you are seeing within your mind is the main focus. No matter what is said or how it's said, it always is forever a point to change your imagination. So if you go throughout your day, because it's literally the clouds of our mind are not up to weather patterns. They're up to how you perceive it. And so the clouds of our mind can disappear just as quick as they came if we just focus on our imagination. And so a really fun example would be throughout the day today, look and just notice, or when you leave this video for the next hour maybe, what are you imagining? When you think of your specific person, what are you seeing within your mind? And you will either see, because you're always in a state no matter what, the cloudy day or the sunny day, no matter what. That will be the outcome. And so ask yourself, if you could just as easily choose a cloudy day, why can't you just as easily choose the sunny day in response? And the wild thing is you're going to manifest just like that individual at the beginning in 5 seconds. Literally, I know it sounds crazy. It sounds too believable, but I don't care what you think is real or what you think is able to be done. It is so much greater than anything you could ever imagine. Basically, screw whatever your mind thinks is possible, because you can achieve infinitely greater than it. Even if you are in the state, I can manifest in 5 seconds, you still can manifest infinitely faster than that. I know it sounds crazy sometimes. Our mind and our logic wants to fight against it, but always draw back to this idea. How did it happen for this person if it's not possible for you? And that's something you can always build off of. And remember, whether or not you are perceiving a cloudy day, the sun's there. No matter what. Like, I guarantee you, every single time it's ever been a cloudy day in your entire life, there has been a sun shining just as brightly, just as hotly, I don't think that's a word, just as bright and just as hot as it always has been. That's your reality. Even on your worst days that you've ever experienced with your specific person or in life, The sun has been shining just as bright and just as hot as it always has been. We just need to perceive it and look beyond the clouds to understand it's always available to us. So that's my only challenge for you today. After this, review your imagination. You'll find that it doesn't necessarily align with exactly what we want in the way that we want, right? But then if we notice that and understand that, we can go back and focus on the sun and it will start breaking through those clouds. So if you did have any questions on this, or maybe you feel like you're having a cloudy day today, we can totally reframe it. We can change it. Just comment it down below, as well as any questions, any thoughts, any worries. I want to hear about your successes or basically your progress, or maybe even your worries with your specific person. Comment them down below. As well as that, if you did have any questions, comments, or worries that you didn't want to post publicly, make sure to head over to KyleAugustCoaching.com. That's where you can reach me personally. But as always, thank you so much for stopping by today. If you know for a fact and you believe that you can manifest in 5 seconds, or that the sun is constantly always shining, I know it doesn't matter. I'm going to have people who are like, that's impossible. That can't happen. It's made up. It's about any excuse to keep the same mindset. You are capable of so much more than you think you are. And that is a true fact. But if you know that, I guess you don't have to like the video for that. But I would say if you know that, leave a thumbs up on this video. It would help me out a lot. But as always, thank you so much for stopping by today. And I can't wait to see you in my next video when you're with your specific person.